Hello everyone, how are you doing? Today we're going to talk to you about how to properly level the educational field with time constraints. As future teachers, this is a very important topic to address. My name is Megan, and my co-presenters are Yamani and Callie, who will be speaking to you later. Before we get started, let's talk about what is differentiation. Differentiation is tailoring instruction to meet individual needs. We can differentiate through content, process, products, and learning environment. For content, we may present ideas through both auditory and visual means. For process, we may vary the length of time for a student to complete a task, depending on how much time they need. For product, we may allow students to express their learning through different products. An example may include a puppet show, a letter, or maybe even a drawing. For learning environment, we're going to make sure that there are places in the room for students to work quietly or for students to collaborate with one another. Reasons to differentiate include readiness, interest, and learning profile. For readiness, teachers construct tasks or provide learning choices at different levels of difficulty based on readiness. An example would be adding or removing manipulatives depending on the student's need. For interest, the teacher will align key skills and material with topics that intrigue the student. An example would be giving students a choice of tasks and products. For example, you may have a tic-tac-toe sheet with different assignments for the student to do. For learning profile, the teacher addresses learning style, student talent, or intelligence profiles. An example would be allowing students to explore information and ideas through auditory, visual, and kinesthetic modes. Now that I've given you all of this information, we're going to have a pause and ponder for 1 minute. We're going to address in what ways can your teachers make changes to make learning and assessment more conducive to learning? Have you seen your teacher give peers different learning adjustments? If so, what kind? And why do you think they were given these adjustments? As you pause and ponder, you could choose to either just think about what you're pondering, or you can choose to write it down, whatever works for you. Let's get started. Okay, now let's wrap up our thoughts and move on. Some of the adjustments that you may have talked about or seen in school include extra time on assessment, students being given breaks, possibly extra calculator use, or maybe even peer note-taking. Some of you may have even been given some of these adjustments. Now, reflecting on your responses, as future teachers, do you think it will be possible to modify your lessons to fit each individual student's needs? Let's take notes as we continue. Some of the common educational plans you will see in your classroom include IEPs and 504 plans. Disabilities under the IEP include intellectual disabilities, visual impairment, and deafness. For the 504 plan, some of the disabilities you will see under it include the students having ADD or ADHD, learning disabilities, or maybe even diabetes. Before we begin to look at this next slide, I'd like to tell you what the IDEA law is. The IDEA The IDEA is the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, and it's a law that makes available a free and appropriate public education to eligible children with disabilities throughout the nation and ensures special education and related services to those children. Now, this chart shows the percentage distribution of students from ages 3 to 21 who are served under the IDEA Act. Now, specific learning disabilities constitute 33% of these students in the school year of 2019 to 2020, which is a good bit of students. You could also see all of the other disability types and the percentages associated with them. Our focus today is the 504 plan for this presentation because this will be the most common educational plan you will see in your classroom. The most common 504 disabilities include ADD and ADHD, learning disabilities, and for this presentation, we will be focusing on dyslexia and the specific comprehension deficit. Looking at ADD and ADHD, about 6.1 million children have it. An example would be the student has a short attention span and cannot perform to the same degree as other students in their grade. Common accommodations include establishing a special home and school behavior management plan or allowing extra time for students to complete work assignments in class. Now let's look at learning disabilities. It is the most common disability. 33% of disabilities constitute learning disabilities. Now let's zoom in on dyslexia. An example would be the student has a learning disability that impacts his or her ability to read and process written information. The student struggles with word decoding, but also has delayed processing and comprehension. Common accommodations for students with dyslexia include providing the student with audio tapes of lessons or readings, allowing the student to have extended time on test. Now let's look at specific comprehension deficit. Approximately 10% of students have specific comprehension deficit. It is a reading comprehension disorder in which a person has trouble understanding the meaning of words and passages of writing. Signs include word recognition trouble and problems remembering significant details from the text. Common accommodations for students with specific comprehension deficit include one-on-one reading instruction and pre-reading tasks and exercises. Now that you have all of this information, let's look at what our teachers think about it. Focus groups and teachers surveyed both point to the challenges of remembering accommodations for each child, so remembering accommodations can be pretty difficult, and to the perception that IEPs and 504 plans often include accommodations or services that are not necessary. Our teachers also think that having adequate resources to meet student IEP requirements and the support of administrators during the IEP process were among the top 3 things that special education teachers need to be successful.
Hi, I'm Yamani, and I'm going to introduce how we plan on solving this problem. So, I know that was a lot of information to process, and as high school students, I'm pretty sure you don't remember half of it. And guess what? Neither do we. So in the age of technology, we plan on giving teachers a way to find what works best for their students with a tool at their fingertips. It's time efficient and available anywhere at any time. Introducing the Differentiation Toolbox app for teachers by teachers. So how will the toolbox help? It'll offer quality differentiation, lesson plans from other teachers, a support network of other teachers, and my favorite part, the reward bonus. You get supplies, you get supplies, and you get supplies. So each time a teacher posts or uses one of the resources on the app, you collect points. These points add up to books, manipulative cleaning materials, mats for Head Start and kindergarten, and my favorite, pizza parties. These are all things that I know teachers want to do for their students but can't afford it. Okay, so what are some features in the app? So we have Watch Your Lingo, chat boxes, and advanced search. So let's explain what Watch Your Lingo is. So, Watch Your Lingo simplifies the wording of questions, and it makes sure that the content is the same. The teacher can input the question into the section of the app, which will generate a simplified question. Each assessment will have the same material as the other students, but just modified in a way that suits each student best, reaching the same learning outcomes and class goals of the unit. Chat boxes. Think of a huge Teams group chat, but exclusively for educators. One-on-one help with other teachers, and you get to post your availability using the little markers, and then you can also have one-on-one time with specialists if none of those options work. And last but not least, advanced search. So advanced search, teachers can input their content area, grade, disability, and the personal needs. The app will then provide a differentiation strategy for the student and lesson plans with how other teachers did things with students with similar needs. So let's give the app a test run with a scenario. Derek is a 5th grader with ADHD who struggles with outbursts and focusing on his reading assignments in his ELA class. Let's use the app. So what will we use? Watch Your Lingo, chat boxes, or advanced search? I'll give you a moment to discuss. If you chose advanced search, good job. This will allow us to narrow down our options. Choose the subject. If you need some help and can't remember, there's a little bubble in the top left-hand corner. If you picked ELA, way to go. Now choose the grade. If you said 5th grade, you're on a roll. Okay, now, most importantly, choose the disability. If you said ADHD, you got it, dude. Okay, so here are our results. What you should have input is advanced search, ELA, 5th grade, ADHD. Now, if it didn't come up with anything to your liking, you can always go into the sub-brackets and put focus, difficulty, and outburst. So let's see what the results are. The app will then give you possible differentiation strategies. Readings with stars are provided as stop points for students to reflect on what they read, 5-minute brain break to allow students to run errands, and picture cue cards related to the text and the assignment being completed. Now, wasn't that much easier than going through a book?
This is Callie, and today I'm going to be talking about why differentiation is so important in the classroom. The reason why this is so important in the classroom is because we want to go over equality and reach equity in the classroom. Equality is individuals or groups of people who are given the same set of resources inside the classroom. And this relates in the classroom because this could refer in the classroom to the same funding for all schools, the same quality and abundance of materials and facilities, and or the same quality of instruction inside schools and classrooms. Equity is each person has different circumstances, so everyone needs different resources and opportunities to reach an equal outcome. In the classroom, this could be overcoming barriers like race, gender, and home life. This is the answer for supporting every student in schools. When schools provide their students with resources that fit individual circumstances, the entire classroom environment improves, like in the picture on the screen. So before reading the information on the left, I'm going to explain the drawing on the side. This pertains to differentiation because the child on the right was given the taller ladder to help reach the apples, while the other student could reach the apples with the regular ladder. You may also notice that the tree is heavier on the side with the kid with the shorter ladder. Our students with learning disabilities and our teachers who lack resources are basically on the same side of the tree. We both need extra help when it comes to reaching our goals. This app will help relieve some of the pressure of finding the best methods by connecting the teacher network across the world, readily available at our fingertips to ultimately give us the extra lift to give our students the most effective learning experience. Alrighty, so after going over everything in this presentation, I want y'all to click the link below and I'm going to go over the questions with y'all and then you can take a few minutes to fill out this Google form that we have created. Alrighty, so this is the Google form and this is what it should look like. Your teacher should probably have it in y'all's Google Classroom, but I'm just going to read over all the questions. It might take you around like 5 minutes to fill it all out. Make sure your answers are not one-worded or short. Make sure you explain everything that is on your mind. So, to begin, what about the app do you think will be the most effective? And then put your answer. And then the next question is, as a future teacher, how likely are you to use this app in your own classroom? And then we would like you to rate it from not very to very much. The next one is, what are your key takeaways from this event? You can put 1 reason, 2 reasons, more than 1, it does not matter. And then the next one is, how satisfied were you with the features of this app? And then the different key points are watch your lingo, reward system, live chat with your teachers and a specialist, lesson plan uploads, and advanced search system. So rate all of those from 1 to 5, from 1 being very dissatisfied and 5 being very satisfied. And then the next question is, what recommendations, if any, do you have for app designers about the look of it, about additional searching filters, whatever you think. And if you don't have any, then that's fine as well. And then the last question is, what suggestions do you have that you think could improve the app, both present and pre-read material? That's the last question. So then after that, just click submit and then you are done. Teachers, please pause the video and let your students fill out the Google Forms. It'll take them around like 5 minutes. All of the data and the facts that we had used in this presentation were provided by these references.
Thank you.